wizards, today we are going to learn how to draw an eye. We will start with the outline, but before that, let's draw the guidelines. First, sketch an oval shape for the eyes and then add the outline. Take your time and make sure your outline is neat and accurate. Next, draw the upper eyelid and lower eyelid. When we add the eyeliner area, make sure every part is clearly defined. Then draw the iris and inside it, add the pupil. Then draw the eyebrows. Start with the outline first. Now let's move on to the shading. We will begin with the darkest area of the eye, which is the eyeliner part. Shade this area using a soft charcoal pencil to make it look darker. Avoid using a brush here. After that, outline the iris, pupil, and the lower eyelid again to make them stand out. For the iris, shade inside carefully, filling in the pupil and the iris area. Notice that the iris usually look like lines radiating inside the circles. So think of the pupil and the iris as two concentric circles and draw lines connecting the inner circle to the outer circle. Now we are moving into the shading part. For this, I'm using a brush. Since we are shading a very small and narrow area, I'm using a small brush with a charcoal powder. If you'd like to see a detailed tutorial on how to shade using charcoal powder or graphite powder, let me know in the comments. Next, let's focus on the lightest part of the eye and add gentle shading there. For the darker lines above the eye, use a pencil instead of brush because it's hard to get a sharp lines with a brush. Here, I'm using a medium charcoal pencil. Sometimes, if you do not have a good control with the brush, you can shade with the pencil first and then blend with the brush. I often use this method too, but I'm starting with the brush here for the smoother effect. For the larger areas, I switch to the bigger brush. Remember, for the lightest part, try using graphite powder, and for the darkest part, use charcoal powder. Charcoal leaves deeper, darker spots on the paper, while graphite gives a smooth and softer finish. That's the difference between two. Of course, there can be some issue when mixing graphite and charcoal. My advice is to always start with the charcoal first and then add graphite. For the darkest areas, avoid graphite, use charcoal powder instead, as it gives much deeper shade. Now let's move on to the shading the eyebrow. I'm using charcoal powder to shade across the entire eyebrow. After that, I create eyebrow hair using a super soft charcoal pencil. Then I go back with the same pencil to darken certain areas for more depth. Now let's move on to the highlight part, the eyelashes. Focus carefully here and make sure every every stroke is done with concentration. I'm drawing eyelashes using charcoal pencil. Since charcoal is hard to erase, be extra careful with your strokes. I'm starting with the lower eyelashes and then add shading around them to give a natural and finished look. If something looks unfinished, you can gently erase and refine it before shading again for the smoother effect. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.